Hello, people. How are you? Welcome back to my channel. This is Mule. I hope you're well and in good health. Now, this that I'm going to record is happened on 24th of July 2020, and I'm not sure whether I'll do a part one and part two, depending on how far I go after the first part of it is over. So all these things happened that evening during my prayer walk, and then part two happened later on in the late part of the evening before midnight. So in this early evening, when I started having, when I started off in my prayer walk, I had the Holy Spirit nudge me to hurry up, and he told me actually hurry up. Let me read what he said. In the evening, Holy Spirit told me to hurry because there was something I needed to do in the spirit. Um, and then this is something I've been practicing. I popped out, okay, and this is something Jesus did one day. He pushed me from my back. Physically, I could feel a pressure on my back, and then as I was seeing in with my spirit eyes, I saw a being of light pop out of me. And this being, that's the first time I saw it, I experienced it. This being of light, it started doing cartwheels, yeah, somersaults, and just fun. It just started running and laughing, and it's like somebody who has been released from freedom. I mean, from prison. And I was like, what is going on? So he was telling me, you're a being, he had been telling me, you're a being of light. You're not this human being that is limiting you. Your mentality, your mindset is limiting you to know who you are. So you have to stop saying. In fact, there was a message at some point. If I'll be able to do it, he said that we should stop thinking of ourselves as human beings and start believing and speaking that we are being of lights. We are peculiar beings, as he called us in the book of I think I don't know if it's First Peter. He says we are peculiar beings. You know, we are kings and rulers. You know, and so he had started helping me to understand how to pop my spirit to pop out. So that first day, he's the one who pushed something on my back, and or rather pushed my back, and I just saw a being, in my spirit of light. I can't see the identifying features like where the eyes are, but I can see it's an outline. The outline, and then the being of a human being is full of light. Okay, but I know it's my spirit. That's all I can tell you. I just knew it was my spirit. And then sometimes I won't hear what Jesus will go and talk to my spirit, and I won't hear what they are talking about. And sometimes I'm privy to what is being said. So this particular day, I had learned by now. These were several weeks later. I had learned by now how to do it instead of waiting for Jesus to push me from my back. So that's what he told me. I have to keep doing it so that I can learn to do ministry. To go for missions with this spiritual body. So I popped out in my spirit, and I asked to see Father today. Today I'm the one who asked to see Father because I had not seen him for a while at his throne before going anywhere. That's what I asked Holy Spirit. So this time my spirit, that when it popped out, I saw it communicating with my physical body that today I needed to go to. So I didn't understand what, but I'm always seeing where it's going. I'm always there. So, but this time it was insisting. It was communicating with me. Do you know, like usually telepathically, the way God communicates with us in our minds, yeah? So it was communicating with me. Today, you have to come. So it was nudging me, come, beckoning me with its hands. Come, 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 come. You have to go and don't stay behind. Follow, keep up. So I needed to go to. So I can't explain. This is what I wrote. I can't explain or know how all this goes, but I did it by faith. Okay. So my vision was better today as I followed my spirit into the throne room, and so it leap onto Father's lap. That means I saw my spirit leap on his lap, and I find this spirit of mine acting so free and childlike, loving to do childlike things and behavior. So actually, I get embarrassed sometimes when I see it doing all these things, because I've seen my spirit even dancing moves that physically I know I can't do that. I can't keep up, but it's dancing, and then Jesus comes and starts joining, and Jesus and my spirit start dancing and laughing and just having fun. And I'm seeing all these things, and I just get amazed. I stopped at some point. Those earlier days, I used to think I'm seeing my own thing, so it can't be real. No, no, I had to. God rebuked me, that there's nothing that is not real. Everything is happening. Yes, your imagination is very real, and that's what God uses. So I had to learn. So by this time of this day, it was something that I was doing regularly, for several months. Didn't say that. So I I saw Abba Father just hug my spirit and laugh as I saw my spirit kiss his cheeks. And also, somehow there's something that happens. The spirits, the spiritual bodies, they can merge into another spiritual body. Um, I don't know how to explain that, but I entered inside his face, okay? And I started bathing. I was seeing my spirit bathing in the glory inside the Father's face. And I could see his face. Of course, I can't see his features because it was very bright, but my spirit was not affected because see, it's a being of light like Father. So all I could see is it entered inside his face, and it was bathing in the glory. And sometimes even Father pushes me inside himself, and I see a lot of things. Sometimes I see mysteries, but I can't explain with my understanding. I am not allowed to even know what my spirit is seeing. And sometimes he just pushes me inside, and I just feel love. I just feel like something is hugging me. Different experiences. So what I wrote is my spirit merged with Father, somehow inside his face. After a while, I saw it. That is my spirit. It had brightened, and then Father stood up and also called out to me to follow them both. Okay, so this is the second time now I'm being nudged. My spirit had beckoned me to follow. Now Father, he's also beckoning me now physically to follow. So I don't know how to explain that to you. So I was physically still standing in that path where I take a walk with Yeshuah. I take my prayer walk, but in the spirit I followed them. So I keep wondering, um, why, how come I have different eyes from my spirit? And it must be my soul, because even if I ask all these questions, God never answers. Half of the time, He never answers, but He keeps giving me these experiences and experiences. So I just obey by recording what I see. So I continue saying, even as I was also watching the physical, beautiful sunset happening, there I was also watching, I was also following Father and my spirit. So I described here the color of the sunset I was seeing was magenta red. It was actually such a deep color. It was an unusual sunset. It was an unusual sunset color for that day. And it was so beautiful. So I kept being pulled by the sunset. I was looking at the sunset, but now I had to concentrate on what I was seeing in the spirit. So I apologized, I think once or twice, for delaying them. And then I decided, okay, I have to tear my focus from the sunset. So I turned away from the sunset, and then that's when I saw Abba Father crouch down. And then it's okay. It's like what I can explain is like a theater, or the scene that was before us. There was I don't know. It was a view. It was like a view of heaven. It was just there, and then he lifted up like a curtain from the bottom of the ground that we were on or standing on. And then I began to see another beautiful view of a bright, clean city. So it looked like a futuristic one, like I'd seen in a movie called Tomorrowland, if any of you has ever watched that movie. So it was like a futuristic city, and I really looked and admired it. I saw things flying like planes and raised high rises. It was looking like a city, and it was all white and really clean. It was really clean, and I realized he was showing me the New Jerusalem. That's what came to my mind. This is the New Jerusalem, and it was so amazing. So it's just a glimpse, actually. But I was really grateful, although I didn't see details well, because it was quite far in the distance. But it was so clean. That's one thing, that the impression I really got. It was so clean, although I couldn't see like on the streets how clean it was. But that's the impression I got. It was very clean. And then immediately after a short while, Father just then closed the partition. He closed down this thing like looked like a curtain, and the normal scene that I had seen of heaven's view of heaven, it came back, and then I realized I returned. The vision was over. I returned back to where I was standing physically, in my mind, and then I realized Jesus was with me, and then the vision was over. And then I noticed at some point, as we continued walking on that path, at the end of a path where sometimes I usually watch the sunset. I think we went round. It's just a short walk, and then I come back. That's what I do. A short walk, and then I come back. So it depends on how fast I walk or how slow. It's usually a short path, like a few steps, and then I come back. So at the end where I usually watch the sunset, actually that's my starting point, and I started noticing there were some angels, or some beings at the end of that path where I usually stand. There's an avocado tree there, so it's something I stand there and just enjoy the sunset or whatever at the end, whatever is happening. And even looking at the shamba, just looking at the vegetation, the trees, it's just a beautiful place. And then when I was seeing these angels, and then I also saw a white-robed gentleman. Now, all this I'm seeing in the spirit, yeah? White-robed gentleman, and I realized there was something off or different from the angels I usually see, or I was seeing. Then Yeshua took my hand and brought me forward, even as he brought this gentleman closer. So in the beginning, I thought it was an angel. So when he brought us closer together, it was then I realized that he wasn't an angel, but a man brought in the spirit. As I got curious as to who it was, and usually when I ask questions, Jesus will not even answer me. He'll just do whatever he needs to do, and I won't get answers. Maybe I'll get answers much later, maybe days later, months later, of what happened. Okay, so as I got curious to wonder who is this man, Jesus took both our hands, our right hands, and he joined them together. Okay, and suddenly, somehow, I realized that this was my future husband, okay, or future spouse. We were joined together by our high priest Yeshuah, okay, as the angels started shouting. I started hearing shouting. They were shouting and hugging us, all these angels, and even Yeshua was hugging both of us. So I didn't hear any words spoken or anything, but just by the fact that Yeshua took our hands and joined them together, I assumed there must be something that happened that must have been significant. Okay, so I was still curious whether this was happening for real, or it was a vision for a future time. Okay, as we are being joined together, our hands, I saw two angels spread a canopy or sheet. It looks like a bed sheet. Usually, the number of times I've seen it, it looks like a big rectangular sheet, bed sheet over us, just as I had seen during my betrothal to Jesus. Yeah, that the same bed sheet was put over us, over me and Jesus. So after all after the bed sheet was put um, over us, and they stopped hugging us and congratulating us. Then this gentleman did what I had seen Jesus and even Archangel Michael do before, of putting their faces very close to mine and then merging into me. Now, this, whether you believe it or not, this is what I saw in the spirit. And that's why I was saying in the beginning that usually spirits, they are not limited by the body. So they can merge into each other. And this is what I saw. Okay? So he merged into me. And then I couldn't see him anymore. So he joined. Okay, what I said is he joined or merged or interfaced with me, and then I saw us become one big light, bright, very bright light, brighter than how I see usually my spirit man bright. Yeah, and I said it was fascinating to watch all this. Then after we merged, and actually we became like a big ball. It was a big ball. It wasn't the outline of human beings. It was now a big bright ball of light. Yeah, and then I felt a lead from this gentleman, and he was still inside me, and we left the scene behind in the spirit. I could see us now traveling. We flew as one. And this is something I had done with Jesus oftentimes in this ministry. We go for missions, and I see us flying over bodies of water, over bodies of land, over streets and houses and all that stuff. But now, instead of flying over streets, over houses, or flying over just cities, now I saw us, with this gentleman, I saw us fly over nations and countries. Okay? I knew it. And I can't tell you how I knew it. I just knew it. Okay? So we came to what I found out was Russia. I found out later. I found out it was Russia and cut across the spiritual atmosphere. So the spiritual atmosphere was very cloudy over Russia. So when we cut across, we made a path that across the cloudy sky. Yeah. So our presence created an opening across whatever looked like clouds covering the country. Then I started pronouncing. I was given utterances to pronounce. I started pronouncing Isaiah 60, chapter 1, loudly and several times, as I began to see even several lights begin to pop out from down where I could see. Now this path that we made, now I could see, because we were up in the sky. I could see down where the land is, and I started seeing all these lights pop out of the land, pop out from whichever directions they were coming from. They started popping out and coming up through the clearing we made through the clouds. Yeah. And for those who don't know what Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1 says, I started saying, arise and shine. And then here I add Russia. I was given Russia to add. Arise and shine, Russia, for your light has come. Arise and shine, Russia, for your light has come. So I kept repeating that verse several times as I started seeing these lights coming up, coming up, coming up. So I said I repeated that verse several times. I don't know how many several times. So the lights I saw popping out were souls or believers, and they were able to reach the heavenlies where we were because we had cleared the heavens. More and more of them were shooting out, and finally they were in a big group, and then they joined together as one. It was like a corporate group, yeah. They joined together as one and returned back as a corporate group. They returned back to that land of Russia. And then I saw then, I began to see in the remaining parts of the clouds, the clouded area, I started seeing lightning, almost like lightning strikes, like in the clouds, in the clouds that were covering the rest of the country. I started seeing lightning like in the clouds. That's all I can describe. It was just like lightnings flashing, flashing, flashing in the clouds. And I knew in my spirit that this group was at work in their own country. Then the scene changes, and then I saw us fly again in a different place that I knew was Polynesian Islands, and I announced the same verse several times, but now I said Polynesian, all you Polynesian islands. So arise and shine, all you Polynesian islands, for your light has come. So that was repeated again several times, yeah. And again, I could see the same thing now. Believers and souls shoot out to where we were, and they were even more closer than the Russians I had seen, because I saw a face of one of them smiling broadly as he waited in the heavens where we were. As they increased in number, I suddenly saw a big wave or a body of water like a tsunami. It covered the islands. All of those islands and lands simply disappeared from sight. So the Lord had already told us that I don't know which recordings those are, but I had already had prophetic action over these islands and other places like Japan and all those lands. And then I was told that there will be a tsunami. Several times God has mentioned that to us, so hopefully I'll be able to get those recordings. So he said there will be a tsunami, and this Polynesian, a lot of those Polynesian islands will disappear. But here, right now, I said that they all disappeared, all those Polynesian islands. But he had revealed to us that Solomon Islands, Bora Bora, and there's another recording he told us Hawaii, and others. He told us and others. So, but now in this vision, I said, I saw all the islands and lands there, the Polynesian islands. They simply disappeared from sight. And also in the other recordings, he had told us the same thing, that I believe the same tsunami or earthquake or whatever will happen will also cause New Zealand to disappear completely, the land of New Zealand, and also a part of I believe it's Australia, but I don't know which side, whether it's a southern part or which coastal areas of New Zealand of Australia will also go underground. So, and it's the same. There was one prophetic action I did also, and the Lord told me that the coastal areas of America, California, that stretch, will also disappear. And again, in another revelation he gave us was also on this other side, the eastern side, the New York side, and all that. That coastal area will also go under, the same way as the California side. And the prophetic action I did, that I saw California go under, I literally saw there was a block that was put between the state of California and Mexico at the border. And what I was told is this landslide will not affect Mexico. That's what I was told. That somehow, I have no idea how. I saw a block like something blocking at the border. So whatever will happen to California and America, it will not touch Mexico, or it will not be as intense. This is just my translation, the one for intense. It will not be as intense as America, or catastrophic like America. But we'll wait to see when it happens, how it will happen, because that's all. Those are the only details I have of Mexico and America there. Okay, so after all this, all these islands disappeared, next we were led. Now see, it's me and my spouse. We are as one, but I stopped seeing him. I couldn't see him anymore once he entered me. So I was going, led by us. Okay, so next we were led to Japan, and I saw what looked like a fault line cutting across Japan islands from, okay, if you look at the map, if you look at our normal map, from the bottom upwards. So it was going horizontal, yeah? No, it was going vertical, sorry. It was going vertical upwards. So from the bottom upwards. As I announced same thing over Japan too, the believers that came up went back. After they gathered up in the sky where we were, now they went back, but this time they lined up around the main island of Japan and joined together till they formed a dome shape over their nation. Okay, so I don't know how to explain this, but I might not have the words enough to explain this, but they formed a dome. Okay, it's like their bodies, they connected their bodies and they formed a dome. I could see it looked like a dome over this main island of Japan. Okay, and so what I spoke was, again, arise and shine, Japan, for your light has come, several times. Yeah, as they finished forming a dome, the same tsunami that had made the Polynesian islands disappear came over Japan. But this time, instead of sweeping away and destroying Japan, making it disappear, it swept up and it went over the dome cover. It passed over. So Japan was spared, and I heard the Lord speak about that as I wondered what I was seeing. So the Lord said, Japan will not be wiped out because I have worked for it. That's all he said, nothing else. He didn't explain anything else. So after all these prophetic actions over the nations, we were back, and I was back and didn't know what happened to the gentleman or where he went. I asked God about it. I asked Yeshuah, will it be like this from now on, the two of us in ministry as this big ball of light? Have things now changed somehow? But he didn't respond or explain anything, and my time, my prayer hour was over actually. And then I related all this to my brother later on in the evening. Actually, I was relating this to him around 11 o'clock. And as I was relating this incident to him, then the Lord interrupted us, and he told my brother to prepare to write down whatever needed to be recorded because he needed to speak to us. So maybe I need to do another recording for part 2 because I'm seeing it's taken long. But I'll begin again from where I began to see a vision at that time and what God spoke to us. It was around 11 at night. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope it makes sense, everything I explained. Where I didn't explain properly, maybe you can ask and in the comment section, and I can try and explain more. But thank you so much for listening, and please join me in part 2 of this recording. Thanks.